said earlier, it's like, oh, I don't really have an agenda or don't really have an idea of where we're going. That's true. But one of the things I did want to try with you is something I've been working on for a little bit here. And um, it's a way to try to get conversations started. And there's a number of products out there for conversation starter decks and all those kinds of things. We even have one for our family that's a little bit more silly and more geared towards families. But even with the ones that are made for relationships, couples, those types of things, I've always found them to be a little bit shallow or like, look at me. Or it's just always felt a little one-sided. And so what I've been working on for a little bit is just something that's a little bit of a deeper question of let's get past the surface level. Let's get past the initial like, well, what do you feel about this? It's like, no, like let's get into some shit, like
Okay.
those types of questions. So if you don't mind, I want to test one on you just to
Okay.
see, uh, if it's something that still holds up in practice as it does in theory.
Okay.
So what I'll do is there's basically three categories to go from. Begin by being honest. Where are you? And what do you want? So begin by being honest are questions that expose concealment, performance, self-protection, shame, contradiction, and the stories we use to avoid what is true. Little, yeah. Where are you? These are questions that help someone locate themselves emotionally, spiritually, relationally, and within the larger movement of their life. And what do you want? Questions that invite an honest connection with longing, need, hope, permission, attachment, fear, and desire. So, of those three categories, so how this is going to work is you'll pick the category and I'll randomly just grab a question from that category and I'll ask it and I'll give you the runway
Okay.
to figure out what that question means to you, what initially comes up, what initially triggers the response, and we'll just kind of go from there if you're okay with that.
Okay.
So, of those three categories, begin by being honest. Where are you? What do you want? Which would you prefer to try?
Let's go with the first one. Let's start
Begin by being
being
honest.
honest. Yep.
Okay, perfect. I'll choose one at random. No, you tell me top or bottom because I got the proofs here and they're in a two up format. So, do you want the top card or the bottom card?
Top.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. So this question is, what do you already know you need to stop?
What do I need to stop?
Not even, no, not what do you need to stop? What do you already know?
What do I already know that I need to
Yeah.
stop?
So you know it, but there's something in the way stopping you from doing it.
Um, you know, um, got to think about this one for a minute.
No worries, my man. Take your time. Go where the mind's going, go where the heart's going with it.
Something that I'm still working on, or that I already got past, or either.
Wherever the mind and the heart and soul's going.
Okay. Um, usually when there's something that comes up in my life that I need to stop, and um, I will reflect on myself and say, okay, this isn't good for me. What do I need to do to change?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, like when I was obese and I was not in good shape. um I was really strong. I was doing powerlifting and everything, and um I wasn't happy with how I looked in the
Mm-hmm.
mirror. I wasn't happy with how I felt physically.
Mm-hmm.
I was always out of breath.
Mm-hmm.
And even being so miserable, I still continued that path. And I knew I had to change something. I knew I had to correct my eating. I had to stop, uh, feeding my you know, myself just so much. And it wasn't until, really until, I got my heart broken, and, and then that just caused me to look at myself and say, this isn't who I want to be. Uh, this isn't how I want to be. And, that didn't come at first. That came through all the negative emotions and everything,
Yeah.
the anger, the depression, everything else came before that. And then I hit this point and I was like, I have to change. I have to do something about myself. And, um, and I think heartbreak is really one of those things that absolutely can change you either for the better or for the worse. You can have a negative outlook on things and just see, everything is just crap, and I don't want to be any more relationships. I'm going to be a player. I'm going to go do what I want and fill all my desires and, hook up with all these women. Or you could look the other way and say, try to look introspectively. And that's how I try to do it. And say, I need to change. I need to do something about myself. And that's what I did. And I started taking my diet more seriously. I started taking my fitness more seriously, doing cardio, going jiu-jitsu more, and, just training more. And all that came together, and it transformed my body. I dropped, oh God, probably 70 pounds or so.
Mm.
And, wasn't so much focused on like the powerlifting aspect. Like I still wanted to be strong and I
Mm-hmm.
still wanted to maintain as much as that I could, but that was not my priority. My priority was getting in shape and transforming myself. And, through that led a lot of other things, that I started changing eventually too, for the better, because, once I realized, I could change that, I could change other things about my life that I wanted to stop
Mm.
and correct about myself.
Mm.
Um, yeah,
So did for you the change start on the fitness side and then bleed over into other things?
yes.
Okay. So then from the fitness side, where then did it go next of you being able to take ownership of the outcomes in your life?
Um, I wanted to set the example for my kids. That
Mm-hmm.
was like first and foremost, which is also the reason why I got into jiu-jitsu.
Right.
Initially, I had a heart attack, and powerlifting really wasn't going to be on the agenda anymore.
Like competitive powerlifting?
Competitive. I
Yep.
was competing,
Yep.
and I had a heart attack while I was doing heavy squats. My right side of my artery collapsed and caused a blood clot. 100% blocked the artery, and they had to. I went to the hospital, and they did the EKG on me, and they said, "Oh, you're having a heart attack," and they had to immediately wheel me in to have surgery, and then they went through my femoral artery,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Well, am I going to get any pain meds?" There's no time. You're 100% blocked. You need this now. So they had me bite down on a towel, and they cut me open on my femoral artery and shoved the hose up there. Yeah, it was an experience.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I could feel them shoving that freaking hose up my leg, and I was like, oh, like, just let me live. That's the, just,
Yeah.
just get me through this.
Mm-hmm.
And they put a stent in there. I got a stent on the right side of my heart. And, you know, since then, I forgot where I was going with this. I was talking about how it bled over into other areas of my life.
Yep.
Um, that's how I got into jujitsu. And um, I could not roll because I had just had the stent.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I was kind of terrified. of going out there. And, I'm a big, strong guy. I had a big ego, and, I didn't want to get shown up, because I had
You-
heard stories of some of my weightlifting buddies getting choked out,
by these little midget nerds.
yes, yes. And I was like, I don't want that to be me, And as time went on, I was, watching my kids after about a month, and I said, this is not the man I am. I got to get out there, and I got to show my kids and set the example. And so I signed up, and oh man, that was an experience. Exactly what I thought, and I got, choked out by 15-year-old girl. And I was, 280-pound power lifter, big, strong guy,
Yep.
Choked out 3 times in a row in 5 minutes.
Yep.
And
It'd be like that.
yeah, yeah. I was humbled, but I was expecting it,
Yeah.
and I had an open mind to it because of the heart attack and everything. It changed my perspective on things. And I said, what's the worst going to happen? I already had a freaking heart attack, like,
Right.
let's live life, let's get out there and let's just do it and set the example for the kids. This is how I want the kids to grow up, and I want them to be able to defend themselves and be confident, and
Mm-hmm.
and it bleeds over into all the other areas of their life too. And
Yeah.
and it has,
Yeah.
and they're growing up to be fine young men.
They are, man.
Um,
And I always see the workouts that you guys do, that you post and stuff, like the discipline you're building into your kids. It's not rooted in motivation.
No.
It's just because there's times when I see in the videos like your kids don't want to be there.
Oh, absolutely.
They're tired. They're like, Dad, we just got off a wrestling practice or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and like doesn't matter. You do it tired. You do it sick. You go. You don't give yourself the chance to think or to start making excuses.
Because you'll start making excuses.
You'll start making excuses, and you're going to miss one day, and then you're going to miss the next day, and the next thing you know, your boobs jiggle when you brush your teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like it sneaks up on you, man.
Yeah. And that's happened to me too. Oh man, how did I get here?
I know. Yeah, it's those little decisions that get made every day.
Yeah,
that can go in the negative or the positive. So do you still have that? Do you still have those moments of fear or the thing in the back of your head that's trying to stop you from living? And do you have to intentionally counter that with saying, no, I'm going to choose to live in spite of the fear or even the possibility that something might happen again?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every day, whether I'm going to work, things come up,
Mm-hmm.
and there can't be any hesitation. There can't be any fear in my line of work,
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have the time to second guess or think sometimes.
No.
You got to be able to flip that switch.
Exactly. I'm in law enforcement, as you know, and hesitation kills.
Yeah.
And not just you get other people killed too.
Yeah.
You have to make decisions right there on the spot. And,
what is that like with, because I think I'm not in that world, but from the outside, it seems like it's gone a little bit better, but it was pretty rough.
Oh gosh.
Back in COVID times.
Oh, it was terrible.
Like, even if you did everything perfectly right, you were still wrong.
Yes. Oh, I had, I had people coming up to me and, just because I was in uniforms, hey, Black Lives Matter. And I said, yeah, my kids are black. And then they'd come back and say, oh, the slaves had, and I was just like, are you kidding me? Like,
you can never win.
No,
yeah.
there is no,
there's no middle ground, no conversation.
Yeah. You can't reason with them.
Yeah.
You just better just keep your mouth shut and, don't try to justify yourself or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just.
But has it gotten a little bit better over the last couple of years, or is it still that same?
No, it's not as bad as it was.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. I was getting like spit on and, just because I was in uniform, I was the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as bad as it was. There's always going to be people that don't like law enforcement. It's part of the job.
Yeah.
But during that time, it was, oh gosh. Yeah.
It almost seemed like it was just it was unprovoked, just uniforms equaled This is a target for
Yeah.
whatever anger or hate or whatever I've got in the background of my life. They are now going to be the target for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that sucks, dude. And it's rough because I have other buddies and other Leo friends, and the that no win game. It's I can't imagine, because talking to some of my other law enforcement buddies is traffic stops are the most terrifying thing to them. From someone who's not in law enforcement, it's like, oh, what's the big deal? But I think as of recently, because body cams became the kind of the mandate to counter all the narratives that were being thrown out there. And then when the body cam footage started rolling out, everyone's like, actually, the body cams are proving the opposite of what we were hoping.
Exactly.
But what has also come from that is you're able to see what law enforcement deals with just a normal traffic stop of like, hey, your registration's expired. And then it turns into a friggin' felony because someone wants to run their mouth, or someone wants to argue, or someone wants to say, I know my rights, and like, and they don't. And it's just, they escalate and then expect you to de-escalate while they're escalating. And it's like, that's not how it works. Luckily my dad made sure I was raised on cops. So, so I learned real early on the FAFO of law enforcement of comply, deal with it later. But I don't know what it is in the culture now, in the environment now. It's everyone just seems like they want to fight something for no reason. And I don't know what that is. And then, but it almost seems like it's being taken out on law enforcement of like, hey, you're doing your job of enforcing law. And it could be a very easy situation. Like it doesn't have to be that hard, but
that's how we prefer it to go. It's just, you broke the law. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And instead of just arguing and escalating and, trying to fight, just,
and everyone starts whipping out their cell phones and like, it's
yeah, I got a camera too.
Yeah.
Go ahead and record me. I'm already recording, it's just,
yeah, it's wild, man. So I can't even imagine like the stresses that come from that. Does that, because I gotta imagine, maybe not necessarily you in particular, but other people on the force, especially when you're on duty, is there just this constant lingering like cloud of, I don't want to say fear, but like uncertainty? Like there's something that's like, it's just out in the ether. You can't quite feel it and grab it, but it's like there's something there that you're like, at any point in time, something can pop off.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if you heard the saying, it's like law enforcement's like 90% boredom and 10%, and that's very true.
Yeah.
But there's always in that back of my mind, like, oh, please don't let something happen tonight, and that's kind of how it is like every night, or every day you work, just please don't let anything major happen. Let this be a good, smooth night.
Yeah.
And we try not to use the word quiet.
Yes.
Right?
Because then you have to start fighting all the wood doors in the precinct and start knocking on them.
Yeah. Somebody says that, you just get looks.
You're like, no.
Yeah.
And we don't have to get into the specifics of how that all works, because I don't know what we can and can't talk about with that. But how has that been for your boys' family, being in law enforcement, having that? There's always that what if. There's always that. As talking to other law enforcement buddies, there's always that thing in the back of their head of, this might be my last shift, all times.
Yeah.
How do you juggle that? How do you internalize that without it crushing you? Like how does that impact your relationships outside of your own head, dealing with that pressure, that uncertainty? For some guys, even the the fear of, I don't know what's going to happen tonight. You don't know what you're walking into. You don't know what calls you're going to get. And you clock in for your shift, and then who knows? It's not a normal job where you're like, I know today I have to do X, Y, Z. It's we'll see what gets thrown at me today.
Exactly.
So how do you juggle that? How do you um, manage those things in a way that doesn't crush you?
Faith, man.
Mm.
My faith in Jesus Christ and God. Uh, no matter what happens, if tonight is my last night and I'm on and something happens, um, I know I'm going to a better place. Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. He died for me on the cross, absolved me of all my sins, and I do my best to follow in his footsteps and lead my boys in that direction as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do I fall off the path sometimes? Do I fall short? Absolutely. I am nowhere close to him, but I try.
Mm.
So, I don't fear death. It's not something that oh God, it's going to, if it happens, then it's my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to prepare my boys for that as best I can,
Mm-hmm.
and tell them, Dad may not be here tomorrow. I need you to continue doing these things that I've been showing you and teaching you and live your life in a good manner. If I'm not here, you have to take over and you have to be the man of the house, and you have to take it upon yourself to keep doing these things. And
Dude, the thing I have never had that conversation with my boys. I can't imagine it's like every day a little bit of your heart breaks.
Yeah.
Because because I know how much your boys look up to you, how much they love you. And I think the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that that's a regular conversation that you and other law enforcement have with their families, of especially in sketchy divisions and stuff, man. Like, I'm going on shift. It's not like I'm going to go go plumb a house,
yeah,
or do electrical work. It's you're literally standing in the gap to protect people, sometimes from themselves, but usually from others. And I can't imagine, man, has that been a conversation you've had with your boys, and because do you have a daughter too?
yes.
Okay. Is that a conversation you've had with your kids? Granted, softly, when they were younger. You're not like, they're like 3 years old, like, oh, listen,
they don't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah. But how have those conversations been, and how have you tried to temper those conversations with them so it's not like an overwhelming thing for them as a child?
I can't remember what age, but it was probably a few years ago that I started having those conversations when they were old enough to start knowing, how to, manage themselves and, to some degree. Not
Right.
obviously they're not going to go out and have the willpower to get up and go, do all the things I do with them, because nor can they.
Right.
They can't just go drive to the gym or drive to jiu-jitsu or wrestling.
Right.
They're not old enough yet, but it's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, death comes for us all. We be driving down the freeway and get in a bad accident. It could happen to anyone, us, at any time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the outlook I've had on it since I had the heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
I was very lucky, very fortunate to be granted, more years with my family and my kids. And I almost felt like a part of me died when I had that heart attack, because it changed me. It changed my outlook on
Mm-hmm.
things. And
did you ever grieve that part of you that died that day? Or is
Um,
there still a part that's like, feels like it's missing out or feels like something was taken?
no, I just put it behind me.
Yeah.
It's, those, do I still look back like to my powerlifting days and, the camaraderie that I had? And absolutely,
Yeah.
you know, I loved lifting heavy all the time. I still do it, not to the degree that I used to do it. I
Right.
don't lift nearly as heavy or as much as I used to, and push myself as hard as I did.
Hmm.
I still push myself hard, and I still lift heavy compared to most people.
Right.
But compared to where I was at, relative,
Right.
um, I'm nowhere near where I was back then.
Hmm.
But as I found out later, that actually all that powerlifting, it actually hindered me in jujitsu.
Mm.
Um, and so not only did I come in to jujitsu with, you know, uh, you know, being out of shape and get choked out by these kids, I was already in the negative.
Mm. Yeah.
I was holding my breath, like bracing myself when
Yep.
I was rolling.
Yep.
How well does holding your breath work in a fight?
Not good at
No,
all.
I was gassing out in like less than a minute
Yep.
and just laying on top
Oh,
of people, like just trying to hold on.
yeah.
Just using my weight and hoping that I didn't get flipped over to my back, which happened.
Yeah.
I'd get swept and
Yeah.
and just dominated.
Yeah. I remember us working some of those privates together with Professor Michio and stuff. And he's like, Jason, relax.
Yeah.
In the early days, because
Yeah.
you're like squeezing, he's like, Jason.
Yeah. I'd be shaking,
Yeah.
because I'm holding on so tight and just holding my breath. That's not how you
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah. It is not. Or it's not how you fight for very long.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
Um, so then with, so in, so I'll ask you this way. With your faith, with your not fearing the potential realities that can happen to, even as statistically improbable as they are. Statistics don't matter to the individual. We all know that. But with your faith in, with having your faith and being in law enforcement, I think the culture of today would say those two things are incompatible. How can you be this and also be that? What would you say? Not necessarily as a counter argument to that, but more of um, a reasoning with that argument, or a piece of guidance or a piece of advice to someone that's saying like, hey, like how can you dare be this, be a Christian and be in law enforcement? Because law enforcement is blah, 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 like all the different things that law enforcement is.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that would say those two things are incompatible with each other?
I from a young age, when I first got into law enforcement, I was very good friends with another cop, and he was a pastor,
Okay.
and he was always preaching, always like just just always full of wisdom, and like he could recite things right out of the Bible and put it to practical use, like just right there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was having problems with my marriage, he would just start coming out and just talking to me about it, and I saw how well he blended those things together and had
Mm-hmm.
grace and compassion for these people, but on the other side, still need to uphold the law, not just because you're trying to be an asshole, but you're trying to protect everyone else out there too.
Right.
And I think that you can mix them to some degree. There's a thing that's called the letter of the law and the spirit of the law.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things about the spirit of the law is like, can you, enforce this and do this without having to, write them a ticket and correct the behavior.
Mm.
Or is they're not going to be receptive? I'm going to have to go letter of the law, and I'm going to have to freaking cite them or take them to jail.
Right.
And I try to go with the spirit of the law as much as I can. With people. It doesn't always work.
Has that Has that worked less over the recent years,
Um,
where people are,
everyone's different, man.
yeah.
Like everyone's different. It just, I've had people like come at me and just be complete freaking assholes. And then after dealing with me in a while, they start saying like, "Hey man, I'm like, you're not like a regular cop. You're actually kind of a cool guy." And, they start being more receptive and I don't have to go down that route with them.
Right.
And I prefer not to.
Yeah.
Just, talk, tell me what your problem is. Tell me how we could fix you. Well, we can get you help.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're going to take that path if we can.
Mm.
And that's the path that I prefer because I'd rather help people than punish them.
Mm.
I'd rather see that they get treated. And, that's, I didn't join law enforcement to be a freaking dick and, cite everyone, pull everyone over.
Yeah. Be the city bouncer.
Yeah, no, that's not how I joined, actually, originally I was trying to be a firefighter.
Okay.
And I was going to school through it, got my EMT, and I was working security at the time, and the chief of police, he knew my dad, and he happened to drive up to me, and he's, "Hey, why don't you put in for us?" And I did, and I got hired on and went through all the steps, and I've been doing it for over 20 years now.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
What was the of your career to date? What would you say is probably the highlight of your career in law enforcement? Was there a particular situation, person, individual, achievement within the department? What was the thing that you're like, oh man, I never expected this would happen, or have an interaction like this, or be able to help this person or a person in this way?
Oh, there's been a few, but the things that sticks out probably because it's the most recent and profound was we had a report of a couple that was sleeping on a bench, and it was near the end of our shift, and you can't be sleeping loitering on the property.
You're right.
And so we came over and checked it out, and my lieutenant was with me, and we had another officer with us too. But he was talking to the guy, and he was kind of being a little defiant, like, you can't tell me what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And my lieutenant was being very, patient with the guy and being like, "Hey, like, let's get you some resources. Let's see if we can help you out and get you some housing, instead of sleeping out here on the freaking bench." And
Mm-hmm.
the guy just wasn't hearing it. And then he noticed something in his pocket. And to me, it just looked like a pen, but my lieutenant recognized it. And, he said, "Is that a taser?" And the guy was like, "Oh no," like covering it up. And, immediately, our sensors.
You're like, oh crap, here we go.
Yeah. And he was like, "I need you to give me that." And the guy was like, "Nope, not doing it." He said, "You're going to give it to me or I'm going to spray you." And the taser was also an OC spray, as I found out.
Oh no.
And yeah, it like split into two pieces.
Oh my God.
So, my lieutenant, he gave me several warnings. He didn't want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up spraying him.
Yep.
And the guy got up and he sprays him and sprays me. It happened to get me right in the freaking face. And then he starts doing the zapping taser thing,
Yep.
coming at my lieutenant. And
Yep.
I'm like, trying to get this crap off my face. And then I head back over. Unfortunately, the third guy that was with us was nowhere to be found. I don't know where he went, but he since does not work for the department anymore. That happens
More often than
no.
Oh, okay.
It does happen.
But it does
I've
happen.
had it happen a couple times.
Oh man.
Where you find out who really has your back and can deal with these situations and people who cannot deal with these situations.
And the thing that sucks is that until you're in the situation, you don't know.
You don't know.
It's all theory.
Yeah.
Up until that point.
Yeah. And, he was charging at my lieutenant, trying to zap him.
Mm-hmm.
He had his firearm drawn, and then I drew my firearm, and I'm like, "Oh God, I don't want to shoot this guy, man." And that's all I was thinking was, I don't want to have to kill this guy. I don't want to have to shoot this guy. It's not what I want to do. There's got to be another way, you know. He's got freaking OC and a taser. And then I'm thinking, if he gets my lieutenant and tases him and takes his weapon, I'm not going to have any choice.
Right.
I don't know if he's got a knife on him too, so, and I'm dealing with this freaking OC spray at the same time. I'm just shutting it out because we went through.
Yeah, you acclimate yourself to,
when the
to
academy,
being able to still,
you have to learn how to fight through it.
Yeah. It still sucks.
Yeah.
But you have no choice.
And, luckily my lieutenant, he was a prior MMA guy, purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and, did Muay Thai, and yeah, this guy was dangerous.
Yeah.
And, we were the only like 2 trained guys on the shift. That
no way.
Yeah. Like me doing jiu-jitsu and him doing all these other martial arts too. And he had his gun drawn, and the guy got close enough, and he just bopped him on the head with his handgun instead of shooting him. And he went down, and I immediately charged him, and he started to get back up, and, I pushed him down, and we got him in handcuffs and everything. And so grateful, so freaking grateful that we did not have to use deadly force on this guy. And that, being the trained guys that we were able to subdue him and then get him medical treatment, because he got his head busted open from that hit. And, we ended up getting awards for it and recognized by the department, and it went all the way up to the national level that we were recognized. And, I was very grateful for that. But more so that, that we didn't have to resort to that to subdue this guy. And I don't know what happened to him. He had
priors and stuff.
He did.
Okay.
He had assaults on other law enforcement that he was dealing with too. And from my understanding, he did a little bit of time, and that was it. That was the last I heard of the guy. I don't know if he ever got help or, was able to change his ways. I pray he does. I don't want anyone to head down that path and get worse, Yeah.
Man. I don't think people truly understand because this is probably happening in the span of maybe 20 seconds, I would imagine. Like, it probably felt like hours, but it's probably a very short window of chaos and interaction when it escalated with him starting to not comply and all that stuff. The thing that I've always had a problem with is when people try to armchair quarterback the decisions of law enforcement that are being made in real time. I love, I can't remember who it was. I think it was a news station. They did a situational drill with just normal civilians, untrained. They geared them up, and they're using simunition. They geared them up and put them into just like a regular traffic stop. And like they gave them basic policy training of like, here's how you de-escalate. Here's how you handle situations. Here's how you get someone out of the car. Like, they gave them all the resources, and some situations went great. And then some popped off without warning. And it gave them that perspective of, oh, you don't have time to react. I mean,
you have to have everything thought out beforehand.
Yeah. I mean, even when you're trained for reaction, if you're reacting, you're already behind.
Yes.
And that's the thing that I think normal people who don't, especially people who don't train, let alone in law enforcement, training some sort of martial art, immediately, if you are reacting, you are behind.
Yes.
And if you're behind, depending on martial art, you're either going to get hurt, choked out, submitted, face broke, like, let alone a life and death.
Like potentially says, are you leading the dance? Or
yeah, exactly. And so I cannot imagine for those types of interactions. I mean, thank God that your partner on that shift was also trained.
Yeah.
I'll go this route with it. Do you think that there should be, because I know there's always like lots of talk in the ether that law enforcement should be trained in some sort of martial art, grappling art, something.
Yeah.
They beyond just what the department trains as far as
Yes.
here's the protocols, here's the procedures, here's how you get, force compliance, here's how you get pain compliance. All that does is give you in my opinion, because I don't know the full training regiment that law enforcement actually goes through to when they're actually on shift. I feel like that they're doing just the bare minimum to check the box to avoid litigation. And then, but what that's doing, like with maps and stuff, it's giving someone a false sense of security
Yes.
that they're inevitably going to resort to their tools.
Yep.
And then when someone's has a false sense of security, and then that false sense of security gets shattered, the escalation to the tool, I almost feel like is going to be, they're going to choose the most effective tool, which is going to be a firearm, to remove the threat. Do you think that there's value in that? Let's say Jason is king of the world. Funding's not an issue. Do you think it's beneficial that law enforcement be given practical martial arts training? Not like, hey, we're going to do Wing Chun, sorry for you Wing Chun people. But some sort of effective and practical martial arts training on top of what the standard or the minimum standard is.
So our department, I know a lot of other departments too, they teach you like a lot of the practical martial arts. They do the ground fighting, they do the stand ups, the striking, and we have to hit the bags, get back. Is it enough? No, not even close. They don't train nearly enough. And it does give you a false sense of security. And I believe it gives you a false sense of security, sense of security that you could handle, any situation until you come across somebody that's actually trained. And then you're going to find out you don't know enough.
Right. That's a bad time to find out you don't know enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not in the safety of the gym. It's in a real situation.
Yeah. So they have to take it upon themselves to go out there and train. And it doesn't have to be jujitsu.
But something.
It has to be something that's effective. Not saying like Tai Chi, but it's got to be something that.
But hey, if you can throw your energy at them, man, you could stop them. You can get someone to drop a weapon by just throwing your chi at them.
Kickboxing, boxing, Muay Thai, jujitsu, wrestling, all of them. Get a little bit of all of them in. Something on top of the regular training, and that it builds more confidence too.
Right.
You're going to go into a situation and you're going to believe in yourself and say, I've sparred thousands of times against people that are way better than me and way
not.
Well,
and it gives you those repetitions of being in that situation before, where that muscle memory kicks in of now I know what to do in this situation.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that there's the not in any particular department speaking towards anything in particular, but do you think that there's an underpreparedness for some officers where, again, they're doing like the bare minimum? Hey, I've done 50 rounds this year for my certification or my sign off that I can use a firearm. I went through this half day seminar on subduing or whatever the different things are that you guys go through just to check the box, and like, I'm good. Do you think that there's that it's setting up some officers up to fail?
I do think it.
I mean, I don't think it's an intentional thing.
I don't either. The department has their requirements and everything, but how do you force somebody to do something, when they're tired, they're beat down, they got their families, they might be going through 100 other things. They might be going through divorce, like how do you force somebody to want to go out and take the extra time to go train
on their dime?
Yeah. On their dime. This company's not going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And the department, they're only required to do so much. And do some departments go above and beyond that? Yeah, some do, but not very much.
Yeah.
One of the things like that I noticed is, it's one thing to be able to subdue somebody and put them in handcuffs against somebody that's not resisting you.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when somebody resists you and they're fighting back? Are you still being able to get those handcuffs on? Are they going to be able to take their weapon from you, your weapon from you? And those are things that you have to be prepared for, that unfortunately they don't go live and
until it's too late.
Yeah. Until they're in the situation.
And then you don't have that muscle memory or that training of the reaction of how to handle the stress, how to handle the scenario, how to subdue someone who's not just not complying, they're actively fighting
you back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to find out until it's too late. And I think a lot of people, it's not just in law enforcement. I think it's in general. A lot of men, especially, they overestimate their ability to fight.
Mm-hmm. Those see red bros.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not just a law enforcement thing. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Until you're actually in it and you're training and you realize like, oh man, I don't know anything. You're not going to have that realization until you're like manhandled by somebody.
Yeah. And someone that's smaller than you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been choked out by too many women as well that like, I'm like, oh, I got this. And they have to use man strength. And you're like, that's still not enough.
Yeah.
You're like, oh God.
Outmaneuvering you and and then you're just like, oh man, what am I going to do? And by then,
it's too late. And it's in the safety of the dojo too. And you're like, oh man,
what happened if this happened on the street?
Yeah.
Well, I might be dead.
Yeah.
Depending if they hold on to that choke,
exactly.
Yeah.
Man. So have you been able to get other guys in your department to start training and doing some other stuff? Or is there a thing, I'll say, not necessarily your department, but departments in general, where they're like, have they ever put up roadblocks of like, oh no, you can't train because of you might get hurt and then you're going to be like, or do they actively encourage?
No, they encourage you. The only thing that they do not encourage is anything that's against department policy.
Okay.
Like chokes.
Yep.
Can't choke people out.
Yep.
And I think it's more because of the public perception that, you're, oh, he's killing them, and because of the whole George Floyd thing that happened.
And then what's his name in New York on the subway?
Yeah.
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 So what did with those policy changes of what you can and cannot do, is that taking tools out of the tool bag that are effective, or is it something like
you can choke somebody out and render them unconscious, and they're going to be perfectly fine for the most part,
right?
And get them in handcuffs. That's like the most effective way to get somebody in handcuffs. If they're not resisting you anymore, but you can't use those tools unless deadly force is authorized. So unless they have a freaking knife,
so that's the threshold that's the goalpost that got changed.
Yes.
The threshold is now once deadly force becomes an acceptable method of dealing with the threat. That's the only time a choke of any type can be used.
Yeah, for our department, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm not going to go for a choke if the guy has a gun or a knife. You're
going to pull out your equal or greater tool.
Yeah. I'm not going to take that chance.
Yeah.
No matter how trained I am.
Right.
And that's one of the things, the things about like jujitsu, like, oh, well, what if the guy has a knife? What if the guy has a gun? You don't freaking use your jujitsu on those guys.
You pull a guard on them.
Get the freak out of there.
Yeah.
You're not going to fight some guy, just like multiple attackers. I'm not going to sit there and square off against 4 or 5 guys. I'm going to get the frick out of there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pull guard and, get my face stomped in. I don't think there's any effective martial art for 4 or 5 guys that are, you get out of there.
Yeah, you get out there, and that was always the tool with my son is like you you train jujitsu to get out of situations,
Yes,
but you also have it if you can't.
exactly.
Like
That
you
is,
fight to get away, and if you can't get away, I've told him it's like you throw a kid on his head.
yeah,
It's like you fight to get away. If that is not possible, you start hitting people with the earth.
yeah,
Plain and simple. We'll deal with it later. But I always told him, it's like, you get away. That's how you finish a fight. If you can't get away, you finish the fight.
yes.
Um, and I think that, um, do you think that there's a almost like a cultural phenomenon right now when people are trying to bait law enforcement into unnecessary interactions?
Oh yeah, it's happened to me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had this guy that um, I was directing freaking traffic, and he just got upset, pulled around, went the opposite outbound lane to go around me,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up pulling into the parking lot. I just went over to deal with him, and screw the freaking traffic. I'll call somebody else to deal with it. I'm
Yeah.
going to deal with this guy who thinks that he's above the law and can endanger everyone else,
Yeah.
in the vicinity. And I got up, and the guy was just a complete freaking ass, and he was just jacked,
Yeah.
no shirt on, came out of his car like, "What are you gonna do?" You're like, "Get back in your car, man. Calm down." He's just being a complete freaking ass.
Yeah.
And I was like, license, registration, insurance. Like, let me see your stuff. And he gave it to me, but he was still being a freaking
Chirping
ass.
the entire time.
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, you're not gonna be nothing without that badge and gun. Let's see how you do, without those things." And I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, "If you only knew."
Yeah.
And he's like, "What time you get off duty? Let's go." Uh, he's like, "Just give me 5 minutes with you." And I said, "I promise you won't last 5 minutes." And then he realized, like, oh, this guy's serious. I don't care how jacked you are.
Yeah. Yeah. If anything, that's a benefit for me
Yeah.
because all those jacked muscles require a lot of oxygen and blood flow.
As I found out.
Yeah. Oh man. Um, yeah. So then, so let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
What made you want to get into law enforcement? Was it like a family thing? Were other family in law enforcement? Was it just something that you were drawn to? I know you were saying that you were going the firefighter route,
Mhm.
but um, even with that, it was the chief you said, right?
Yeah.
Even with him putting the invitation out there, other than like, oh, yeah, I'll give it a shot. Was there with you pursuing firefighter? There was this draw to that public service,
Yeah.
to that protect and serve type of thing. Um, what was drawing you to that protect and serve field? Um, was it stuff in family? Were they in law enforcement, firefighters, or what led you to that?
Yeah. My dad, he was a Marine, and he did 2 tours in Vietnam, fought in war. Uh, he watched his friends get killed in front of him, and went through all those horrible things.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't ever really talk about it
Mm-hmm.
because it affected him.
Yeah, my dad was drafted in Army Recon. Same thing.
Yeah.
Um, don't talk about it. You don't ask about it.
Yeah. Sometimes when he had a few drinks, he'd talk about it and let it out.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he never.
Yeah.
And he used to tell me like people he grew up with in high school, and like his friend got killed out in the rice paddies, and by the time he found him, he was bloated and beyond recognition. And
Mm.
they asked him to identify him, and he said, "No, that's not him. That's not my friend." So I recognize that watch. He said, "But that's not my friend." Those are the kind of things that, dealing with, in the military. And he was also in law enforcement after that for a few years. He didn't retire from law enforcement, but he retired from, the military. And then he worked at the nuclear power plant,
Mm-hmm.
SDG&E,
Mm-hmm.
or songs, Southern California Edison. I'm sorry. Um, so Southern California Edison, and he was a training instructor there. And then he got into law enforcement to finish off his career for the last 7 or 8 years or so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he was right there with me. And I think like my whole life, he kind of pushed me in that direction of public service and everything. He's always making sure that, I took care of myself, my body. He was always pushing me, to be better, in school and my physical fitness and, with my grades and making sure I finished what I started. And he put me in, Kempo karate I was in about 7.5 years, during my childhood. And, one of the sayings I remember from the karate was, avoid rather than check rather than hurt rather than maim, and maim rather than kill,
Mm.
because all of life is precious.
Mm.
And,
Dude, that's a I can see the parallels of how you handle interactions when you're on duty.
yeah, um, and I'm not perfect, man. I've lost my temper, on duty and off duty.
Mm-hmm.
I've shown my ass, and I was very embarrassed, afterwards. It's not how I conduct myself. It's not how I want to live or be a role model for my boys. But I'm human, and sometimes our emotions get the best of us. But I try, and I think that, um, one of the things that, getting back to the faith aspect, I started focusing on church and walking with Christ more and being more like him. And, um, we all fall short, like I said, but we try.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's changed me in the last couple of years, especially, um, to be able to check myself before I get to that point
Mm-hmm.
and, lose my temper. It happens to the best of us. Life's beating you up and things are happening, getting cheated on by your freaking girlfriend, and, you're in debt, and, you just life just hits you.
Yeah.
And sometimes the overall pressure of everything, it just gets to you, and you freaking blow up. You get everything bottled in because you don't have an outlet all the time. The jiu-jitsu and the weights don't always hit those
Yeah.
things that you need to release.
Yep.
It helps.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always, it's not always what you need. Sometimes you need, counseling, which I've gone through. Sometimes you need to find Jesus and just try to walk the path as best as you can. Be in his image, as it says, right?
Mm-hmm. What's the thing that's what is your internal radar or the smoke detector in your mind or in your spirit that says check yourself? What is the thing that when the smoke detector goes off, what is it in you that is saying, hey, check yourself, bro?
Oh man, sometimes I ignore it.
Yep. It's like, nah, I'm just cooking bacon. We're fine.
Yeah. And I get, you get to that level, and it's just like, oh man.
It's almost like you get past the point of no return. You're like, well,
Yeah,
might as well just go for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's happened. And it's embarrassing. Especially if I lose my cool in front of my kids. How do I explain that? It's happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then they see that, and then they're thinking, oh, it's okay to, no, it's not.
Right.
You must control your emotions.
Yeah.
You can be angry all you want, but your actions,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you have to control.
Yeah.
Everyone gets angry. Everyone loses their temper. you're sitting in rush hour traffic, everybody's gonna.
Yeah, dude, there's certain times of the day where the 78, and I'm like, I swear to
Yeah.
God, if I wasn't driving a Prius right now.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Um, so when you have those opportunities with your kids, what do you tell them of? Because I have things that I've told my kids.
Don't
Uh,
don't ever do that. That was wrong. I feel like such a hypocrite. I tell them, don't ever act like that. That was wrong of me. But they saw that. They're not going to listen to what you say. They're going to follow what you do.
Right.
I've already messed that up. So I have to keep trying to instill in them.
For your actions to match the words you're telling.
Exactly. Don't be a freaking hypocrite.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that sets me off is, it's like my alarm. Don't be a freaking hypocrite, you freaking idiot.
Yeah. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah. And not just in front of them. But
yeah.
All the time. All the time. There's always somebody watching. Jesus is always watching. He knows my heart. He knows my actions, like I can be better than that. And I know I can be better than that.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be able to control it.
Do you think it's all on you to control, or do you ask for help?
I always ask for help. And not just for my faith, but I've sought counseling and stuff too, and not letting myself get to that point that where I'm just lose my freaking cool.
Mm-hmm. Does it usually take a little bit of time of unchecked things that start to build up, or is the fuse short?
I think it's a lot of unchecked things that build up over time.
Mm-hmm. And the pressure, it's like
usually
dumping a bunch of Mentos in a 2-liter.
The times that I have lost, I was under a lot of I had a lot of problems.
From a lot of different angles, the pressure.
Yes, work and finances, relationships, just all types of freaking angles, just didn't feel good about myself. And
then compounding the stress of
the situation. Yeah. And it just builds up, and you have to find a release and check it and make sure that you don't get to that point as best you can, find that release and that peace in yourself. And it's like, hey man, people look up to you. You have kids to look after. Are you going to be a freaking idiot and escalate to the point where you could lose your career or your life and not be there for your kids anymore? How far are you going to let this go? You got to check yourself. I have to check myself. People have to check themselves. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, man.
What do you find is helpful for you when jiu-jitsu, when lifting is not enough to alleviate those pressures? Because, I mean, you and I both know you can have the worst day. You get a couple rounds in with a couple homies, simulating murder with them. And then you're like, oh, life's okay.
Yeah.
But there's some days when like,
you're still thinking about
like, what do you then go to? What have you found that's helped you when those other tools in your tool bag that help alleviate that pressure, alleviate the stress, where do you go to when the regular tools don't work?
For me, it was getting my head in the word, reading, counseling, realizing that I had issues that I needed to sort out and talk about, and I needed help. And
was that a hard thing to come to, the admission of the need for help, or were you pretty easy about like, yep, this is what we're doing? Or was there like a little bit of like ego in there saying like, nah, I can do this myself?
Yeah. I thought like I don't need counseling. I can do this myself until I got to those points, and I was like, no, I can't do this by myself. I need help. I need to get treatment. I need to work on these things.
Was there something in particular, if you're willing to share, or was it like a cascading effect or multiple things that kind of,
Multiple things.
yeah.
Yeah, it was more than one thing. Like I said, felt like my freaking life was falling apart from multiple angles. And on the outside, I look great. I'm in shape. I'm lifting. I'm doing the cardio. I'm going to jujitsu. I'm training, and you know everything seems great. But on the inside, I feel miserable,
Mm.
depressed, hurt. I'm angry.
Mm.
Angry at myself for being allowed to be treated the way that I was. Um, like my relationships, and just being a doormat. And there's and it wasn't just in one relationship. It was in multiple. Um, and it was like through the counseling that I recognized those problems, that I didn't set proper boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I chose women that just walked all over me, and I was just like, well, what am I doing wrong? How can I fix this? Like, how can I? It's not always about you. Sometimes, like, they are the problem too. Uh,
Do you tend to take responsibilities for things that aren't your fault?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That was like all the time in my relationships. Um,
Do you
and
think there's a portion of that, or do you think that some of that is a healthy thing to do, where you can take responsibility even for something that's not your fault as a man? Do you think that's a manly, masculine thing to do, or do you think that's an unhealthy thing to do, or a combination of both, to take responsibility for things that aren't your fault?
I don't think that's something that we should be doing. I think a lot of times it's just to keep the peace.
Oh, okay.
Um, so like, let's get in their good graces again, and we could move on.
But
And
there's still that thing
yeah,
kind of pecking at the back of your head,
yeah,
because forgiveness doesn't always mean forgetting.
yeah, yeah,
Well, and I heard something really good the other day, that there's a difference between forgiveness and reconciliation.
yeah,
Um, and the guy was saying, it's like forgiveness takes one person, reconciliation takes two. You can forgive,
absolutely,
but reconciliation, and that he said forgiveness is always possible because it only requires one person.
absolutely.
Reconciliation isn't always possible because it takes two people. Um, what have you found is more difficult, the forgiveness portion or the reconciliation portion?
Um, reconciliation with some people is impossible. I still had past relationships that they will not, you know, admit, even admit, what they did, and I caught them red-handed. And there is no reconciliation because they don't think that what they did is wrong, and they'll lie, deny, counter accuse, and justify everything that they did in their own mind, and
Mm.
gaslight you, and just the whole gambit of that. But forgiveness, you say, you know what, I forgive you. Jesus forgave me for everything I did and everything I've done, and he died on the cross for me, for my sins, and I'm forgiven. I can forgive you too. And I think that forgiveness is not just, it's like the pastor explained to me. He passed away, unfortunately, of cancer. But, um, when he was around, he would tell me, like, forgiveness is, think of it as like a debt. And you're forgiving this person of their debt, right? And if you're going to sit there and bring up that old debt, a year or two from now, like, you haven't really forgiven that person.
Mm.
You keep bringing up the past, because you're still hurting. You haven't forgiven them.
Mm-hmm.
You have to forgive them completely.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go. That's forgiveness.
Do you think that happens, or that is that possible to happen in a single instance, or sometimes does it
Sometimes it
takes a
takes
couple times,
you think you forgive them, and then you're,
and all of a sudden you bring up the old receipt and
yeah,
you're like, oh crap, okay, I got to forgive this again.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You don't bring it up to them again,
Right.
because you forgave them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. If you tell, hey, I forgive you, and you're not looking for,
The reciprocation of, yeah,
that's one way. It's like you said, there is no reciprocation from some people. You just have, you cannot sit there and hold that in you, that grudge, for the rest of your life. It's going to freaking eat at you. You're going to be miserable. Just let it go. Forgive, man.
Yeah. I think that's why Jesus says, when someone asked him, was like, hey, how many times do I have to forgive him? He goes, no, 70 times 7.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily like, oh, it's going to be this exact number. It's like, no, you're going to forgive someone, then something's going to happen, or they're going to say something, or something's going to bring up that experience again. You have to forgive again.
Yes.
It's not going to be a one-time forgiven and then, hey, everything's good.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're humans that have memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes those memories come flooding back, whether we want them to or not, just like with grief, just like with some of these other things. And I think that's why Jesus' words are so wise. It's like, no, it's like 70 times 7. Like you're going to have to keep forgiving the person for the same thing.
Yeah.
It might be one time. It might never end.
Yes.
And it might come up every year until you die, that you're like, oh shoot, this anniversary or this date or this thing or this place. Every time I go to, a Padres game, I'm reminded of, I can't believe they freaking did that. Like 70 times 7. You got to forgive again. Otherwise you're holding them back to that debt that's already been forgiven and paid for.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's not easy, man.
No, it's not.
And there's some debts that I don't want to forgive.
Yeah.
It's
hard.
Especially the thing that makes it really hard is they don't acknowledge that the debt was forgiven.
Yes.
That makes it, I think, the most difficult is not only do they not acknowledge or understand the debt that was forgiven, but they then almost in a way try to collect a debt from either back from you or someone else. And you're like, dude, don't you know what
yeah,
I thought we were good. Like,
yeah.
We can get into this tit for tat type of like, oh, we're gonna bring out the whole ledger.
Yeah.
Is that where we're gonna go line item by line item to figure out how we're gonna square things, or are we just gonna cancel it out?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's the most difficult. Some people want to go line by line.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's healthy to work through those things, but other times I think it's not. I think it just, all it does is continue to rip open scabs that are trying to heal.
Yeah. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No.
But one of my exes, she used to write down every time I did something wrong, and like just to remind herself, like, like, this is, you did this, and I'm like, hey, like, love keeps no record of wrongdoings. Like, why are you holding this against me? She didn't get it. Obviously, it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just funny that you say that, because that just came to my mind. Like, you're like line item by line item, and like she would actually write it down. Like I don't sit here and write down everything that you did wrong. Like
yeah, that's where the little bit of grace, the benefit of the doubt, some of those other things come in play. And man, it sucks being a human sometimes. Like it sucks not being perfect, because I mean, we both intentionally and unintentionally hurt the people we love the most.
Absolutely. We sure do.
And it sucks, man, because I don't know what that thing is. I don't know what that thing is in me that thinks it's okay to intentionally and unintentionally, or even unintentionally, hurt the people that I love the most, hurt the people that love me the most. It sucks being broken, and it sucks not having always the right or the best tools to deal with the things, or the correct outlets, or the best outlets, or the people around us that we could verbally and emotionally vomit to. And there's that unconditional, one of the things I love about my spiritual director, JR, is that he has no vested interest in my success or failure. One of the things he's always preaching, and kind of like the thing behind the thing that makes him do what he does, is his phrase is, nothing to prove, nothing to lose, live undefended. That's where he's always trying to guide people to.
That's awesome.
And he's with me. He's in a mindset of like, dude, success and failure is your problem, not mine. Like he's able to so detach from me, but also call me on my bullshit that like no one else, like he's able to see, he's able to hear the things that are not being said.
Yeah.
When it comes to when I have conversations with him. So those people are just having someone like that in my life where they have no vested interest in your success or failure. They're not going to gain anything from you winning. They're not going to lose for anything from you failing. They're generally just there to point the way.
Yeah.
And some people have those relationships. I feel like most people don't. I feel like most people have people around them that just tell them, yeah, you're okay. Oh yeah. They agree. I'll use even a relevant word. They affirm. They say, yep, you're right. You did nothing. Like they just affirm instead of confirm reality. And that's the thing that I've been dealing with a lot of the people that I've been working with lately is they're constantly being affirmed. And what that's doing is it's almost countering the guilt or the shame that they should be feeling.
Yes.
This clip was floating around, and there was this lady, and I can't remember her name, but she was pointing out, it's like, no, honorable men feel shame. They're supposed to feel shame because they're honorable. The only reason you feel shame is because you're honorable. So understand, if you're feeling shame, that's an indication that you're an honorable man. And the thing, the differentiation between guilt and shame, that I really like, I think Mike Foster gave this in something that he was doing. Guilt says, or shame says, I'm no good. Guilt says I can do better. And we got to have those people around us that point out the things that we should feel guilty of. And the thing that's really hard as man, is that we have the ego. I've had conversations and even with my wife of like, dude, I've already got the constant chatter in my head telling me that I'm not doing enough, and that what I am doing and what I am doing isn't good enough.
Yes.
I do not need the external confirmation of the thing I already feel.
Yeah.
Because I'm all day long, the only the thing that's on a loop in my head is you're not doing enough, and what you are doing isn't good enough.
Yes. Yeah.
What I need is that reminder of you're doing good. Like pointing out that I'm doing good in one thing will wash that negative voice from everything. Pointing out and confirming, hey, you're doing good in this. That little bit of affirmation and confirmation of reality of saying, hey, you're doing a good job. Hey, I see how hard you're working. Hey, thanks for going to do a job that you'd rather just be a monk and live like a hermit.
Yeah.
But you're going to do a job sacrificing time and goals and desires to provide, to pay for things for our children and stuff. Like sometimes men just need that little bit of like, sometimes men just need an attaboy.
Yeah.
And then that goes for so much to just alleviate and sometimes remove that negative chatter. And I think so much of the times, and maybe it's just me, but a lot of the behaviors I've found that I do, whether addictive behaviors or ways to cope, escape, remove myself from reality, it's to quiet that voice in my head that's constantly saying, you're not doing enough, and what you're doing isn't good enough. Is that a well, and the thing that sucks is that's in my own voice because it's almost fully self-imposed, which is the thing that sucks is I know I'm doing good, but there's something in me that's saying, not good enough, man.
Yes.
Wh- Do you have that voice
Oh yeah.
in you as well? Is it in your own voice or is it in the voice of someone else?
My own voice.
Yeah.
Daily. You're not doing enough. You're not doing enough with your kids. You're not trying hard enough. It's daily. And that's why I try to be so active in their life. And even then I'm like, I'm not being present enough. I'm sitting here on my phone.
When you could be doing X, Y, or Z. And
Exactly. I'm not interacting with them. I'm like, there's always that you're not doing enough. You're not doing good enough. You can do better. There's always that. And I think that you do need that, hey, you're doing a good job, you know, and I think that does help. I get that from my dad, which is huge for me.
Dude, that's for an old man,
yeah,
for someone's old man to say, "Hey, you're doing a good job, kid."
yeah,
Like it's almost like that's the only thing we want. Like there's something. I feel like sometimes there's something in me that is still a little boy that just wants his dad to say, "Hey, I'm proud of you."
yeah,
You know, and to get that at a stage in life where you're being almost feeling like you're being crushed by the obligation and expectation of being a man.
yeah,
To have a guy who's older than you that's done it
yeah,
to say, dude, you're doing a good job.
yeah,
It's like, oh, okay. Like I can
yeah.
relax a little bit.
Especially, from somebody you look up to
who knows you.
Yeah.
Who's not just on the outside saying, oh yeah, Jason looks like he's got his shit together. But no, a guy who knows the places you do and don't have your stuff together can say, Jason, you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. I'm so grateful that I still have them. I know that one day that they won't be around. So I try to make the most of that time that we still have together. And, when I can find time, when I'm down here doing jiu-jitsu, I'll stop by their house and, spend time with them, even if it's just to say hi, because, one day it's not going to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be prepared for that, but at the same time, live my life, and appreciate that they are still here and I still get to spend time with them. And, just like I can with my kids before they're grown and off to college or something else, just trying to live in that moment and just soak in all this, just appreciating everything. I was just thinking, like, being able to just, even the little things, appreciate the breeze on your freaking face and appreciating the meal that you have in front of you. And, just, and quit taking life for granted and just live in the moment and appreciate everything that you have. God is great. I freaking woke up today and got an opportunity to live a wonderful, blessed life with my kids and be here and share my story with you and, just appreciate all of it.
Yeah. And I think it's hard because in the era that we live in, with everything being comparative, we're all day long, we're flooded with either what's going wrong, what's bad, the the posting and the boosting of the best parts of people's lives that make it seem like every day and every moment of every day should be like a celebration. There should be no wrong. Like everything should be good and everything should be filtered and
like
everything.
My Instagram stories. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's great. Go out there. They don't see all the times that I'm struggling and, like the kids don't want to go and they're freaking giving me a hard time. And I don't want to go, but I'm forced. I'm like, we got to do this. We got to go. This is something that has to be done. Like, they don't see those struggles. All they see is the celebration. They see what you want them to see. And, but motivation can be a powerful tool but it's not going to last. It's not going to be forever. You got to have that drive within yourself to keep freaking pushing. Yeah. And that's like one of the things that I wanted to, share, like just, You got to have that drive. You can't be just motivation alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to get you far. It's going to die. You got to have it within yourself to keep going even when you don't want to.
Yeah.
Keep pushing, there's days I don't want to go to jujitsu or, I'm just like, oh man, I don't really feel like doing this, but it's like, it doesn't matter. We're going to go there. And then I end up having a good time and I'm like, I'm glad I went. Same thing with the
That's how it
gym.
always happens,
Yeah.
man. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to go. And then you're like, I'm so glad I went.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
um, yeah, there's something that Michio said a while ago to me. He's like, you got to find the thing that pulls you to training,
Yes.
because if you're being pushed to train,
Yeah.
at some point that's going to stop.
Yeah.
At some point, that's not going to be enough.
Yep.
You got to have something that's pulling you to training, whether it's that jiu-jitsu, the gym, whatever it is. You got to have that pull that's inviting you into it.
And it's funny you said that because my pull is the people there.
Yep.
I absolutely love you guys.
Yeah.
You guys are fucking, excuse my language. You guys are freaking family.
Yeah.
And that's my pull. It's like, I got to go see my family. Like I want to go see my Excel family and spend time with them, roll around with them, on the mats and
get beat up by a girl.
Yeah. It happens. It happens, man.
Especially Nico May now, man. She's freaking killing it.
Freaking beast.
Dude, every time she gets my back, I'm like, crap. Oh man.
Yeah, she's a freaking beast, man.
Man. Anything else you'd like to say or get into? Because I know that there's you've had the opportunity, I'll say, to learn lots of lessons. What would you say to a young man, a father, a husband, someone going through it right now? What advice would you give them that you wish you would have heard earlier on in those darkest days?
People are looking at you. People are watching you. Set the example. Be the example for those other people. You got to find your drive, and you got to, even when you don't feel like it, you got to keep pushing to be better, and not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It's an everyday battle, and we can always do better.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up. I've been on that side too, where I thought about taking my life. And it's happened more than once. I think it's crossed everyone's mind at some point. If it hasn't, then you're a liar, or you're, or you're just really blessed.
Yeah.
But even the people that have it the best, they live, millionaires and everything, and they're miserable on the inside.
Yeah.
You got to find that drive. And if you ever get to that point where you think that people are going to be better off without you, because I got to that point, they're not. They're not going to be better off without you, and you're going to transfer that pain to them, and they're going to have to deal with it for the rest of their lives. So don't do it. Find a purpose, find your drive, and keep fighting. Don't give up. People depend on you. People look up to you. And you may not even realize it, but that's not the road that you want to take. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So I'm asking all you guys out there, if you're ever thinking about that, reach out. Tell somebody that you're close to, and realize that People are not going to be better off without you. You're going to leave a hole in their heart that can't be filled if you do that. And, please seek help.
Man, may we believe that even when that voice in our head becomes a yell and a scream telling us that we're not doing enough and what we are doing is not good enough. It can't get better because we're no good. May we believe that.
Yeah.
Um, the I had those phases too. There was a time when a lot was going on and massive panic attacks and major depression where a win for the day was me getting out of bed and going to the couch.
Yeah.
That was a successful day. And I remember I couldn't sleep, got like maybe an hour or two of sleep. At like 4 a.m, I just went out on the couch and was sitting there. And I remember telling God, I was like, listen, man, it's like, you got to either heal me or kill me because this can't be my life.
Yeah.
It can't. Where does it go from here? And I think maybe the biggest fear we typically have as men is that the voice in our head is going to be confirmed as true because we already believe it for ourselves.
Yeah.
We believe it with because it's constant. It's a constant chatter. It's a constant pecking in the back of our mind. And I think our greatest fear isn't just that it'll be confirmed as true, but that we go out seeking and hoping that someone will confirm the opposite, and instead they confirm what we already believe. And I think that's the biggest thing that I think holds back a lot of men from seeking help, getting those healthy, positive relationships is that um, the thing I fear is true might get confirmed as true. And I cannot take that. And how would you suggest that someone bridges that gap from that feeling and that fear to finding the motivation, to finding the purpose? What path would you recommend? What, other than if they're already in that place, in that headspace of, dude, I'm checking out this, fuck this life. I'm over it. It's not going to get any better. I'm done. Other than telling someone that's trusted or loved, what path would you say, go that way, do this thing, talk to this person? Um, how would you help someone bridge that gap from feeling like they have no purpose to finding it?
Oh, for me, it's my kids, obviously. So sitting around being miserable, and that's not the example that I wanted to set for them. But I was. That was a part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to do anything.
Right.
Didn't want to get off the couch, like you said. Didn't want to get out of bed. Just wanted to lay there all day. And how did I bridge that? Having talks with friends and my dad, and having somebody to talk to that cares about you and that loves you, and may not understand fully what you're going through, but they understand that you need help, and they love you enough to try to help heal you and get you to get help and be better. And, for me, it was just, I didn't want to waste my life or my kids' lives, the time that I have with them being miserable, um, with everything that I was going through. Yeah, there was days like I would drive to jujitsu, park in the front, sit in my car, and then drive home. I wouldn't even go inside. I just didn't feel like going in. Just didn't feel like, just depressed. But I knew if I went inside that I would feel better.
Hmm.
I don't know what stopped me, that kept me from going inside. I didn't want to bring that negative energy, I guess, to the dojo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I always try to come in and be positive and, smile and, not project how I'm feeling, because obviously at the time I wasn't feeling great.
Mm-hmm.
But got to get help, man. You gotta find somebody to talk to, even if it's a counselor. Um, you know, call a freaking suicide hotline if you have to. If you don't got anyone to talk to, talk to somebody, preferably somebody that really cares about you
Mm-hmm.
and at least has some idea of what you're going through, or that has been there and has experienced, everyone has gone through what you've gone through.
Right.
Somebody out there, not to say everyone has gone through what you've gone through, but there's somebody out there who has gone through what you have gone through and they made it out the other side. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to say everything is, nobody's gone through what you and I have gone through. That was a bad.
No, but I get it though. It's the thing that pain tries to do is try to isolate.
Yes.
That makes it easier for that lion to roam around seeking to kill and destroy.
Yeah.
A lion doesn't take out a animal from the middle of the herd. It takes the weak, the broken, the young, or the old, the young, the infirmed, the beaten down, the weathered, the ones that have no more fight left in them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that pain tries to do, is try to isolate that I'm all alone. No one's going to understand.
Yes.
Not only is there not someone that's going to understand, I will be judged for. And I think that's why we choose isolation sometimes, is because if I am exposed for who I really am, the thing I fear will be confirmed.
Yes.
That, oh, see, I'm not good enough. I just tried to open up and they confirmed the thing I already feel and believe about myself. Yeah. One of the things that my spiritual director and I were working through a little bit was, he had to constantly remind me for a long period of time. He's like, dude, there's nothing wrong with you. He's like, yeah, there's stuff wrong with you, but there's nothing wrong with you. Like what, when we operate from the baseline of there's something wrong with me, that's going to let us start frantically grabbing for anything to counter or mask that feeling. But if we operate out of the headspace of belovedness, already loved, I think that makes it a little bit easier for us to have those conversations. It makes it a little bit easier for us to trust someone with exposing our innate Jasonness and Mattness to somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For the opportunity to be loved.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, especially with a lot of the men I've worked with, is that they are terrified of putting that invitation out there. Because, like I've said, like a broken record, they're terrified that what they believe about themselves to be true will be confirmed as true. So shut up, put on the good face, do not show weakness,
Yeah.
grind through, stuff it down.
All those man.
Yeah. The be a man.
Yeah.
The boss to be a man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, work for 30 years at your job, die on the job.
Suck it up and
be a man.
Yeah. Put on your face.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, that's kind of the expectation. That's a lonely existence, man.
Yeah.
And uh, I think there's probably I think that's part of a grander plan, for lack of better terms, not to get into like it being, it's almost like a spiritual conspiracy that's happening, you know? How do you get to, you can't get to the king, but how do you get to a king? You get to his kids.
Yeah.
What's the best way to get to the kids? You get to the father, you get to the dad, you get to the man, you break down the man, that affects the kids, that breaks the heart of the divine.
Yes.
And there's I think that it almost feels like there's an acceleration of breaking down of healthy men. I think there's a resurgence where it's almost like the doubling down of trying to break down men culturally is resulting in a revival of healthy men. Does that make sense? It's almost like
the cycle.
It's almost like the devil like overplayed his hand a little bit and maybe a little too early of like, oh, now's the time to strike. And it's like, nope, not yet. And you see this kind of almost like a resurgence of healthy, devoted, honorable. I think that's probably the best term. Honorable men kind of making a resurgence where I think the honorable man was quiet for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think the honorable man is starting to make a comeback.
I think you're right.
And not be quiet anymore and starting to see like, no, there's something. It's almost like we understand and see there's something else going on.
Yeah.
And there's it's almost like the honorable men are making a comeback and then start crusading again against evil, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that gives me hope for my kids getting older is, yeah, I mean, it's not the world we live in is not what it was when I was their age. It feels totally different. It feels unstable, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe it was like that when we were kids and we just didn't know because our parents shielded us from it, or we just didn't see it because we were too busy freaking riding bikes 10 miles from home,
right?
And drinking hose water.
Yeah, that was my life.
You know, and maybe we're just too busy being kids, but being aware of that stuff now, it's like it just feels different. And the thing that gives me hope is that I feel like there's something out there that the divine saying is like, nah, I'm not done yet. I'm not done with fathers yet. And that's the thing that's giving me hope for my kids is that there's going to be good, godly, honorable men more than there have been in past generations. It feels like because they're getting more vocal.
Yeah.
They're getting more, it's almost like they're getting easier to spot because they're standing out from the norm that we're seeing, you know?
Yeah.
And so it gives me hope for my kids that even in my absence, whenever that happens, they're gonna be okay. And I think that's the only thing we want as dads is that my kids are gonna be okay, you know? And I think you're the same way. When we're not trying to protect our kids from the struggle, we're trying to prepare them for it.
Yes.
And I think what we had was a gap of a generation where they were shielded from struggle. And then we get what we've got now. And, but there's this new generation of young man that's coming up. I think because of dads like you, dads like you are now becoming the norm again, where we push our kids for being prepared, not out of fear, not out of like, do what I say, but it's out of love. And it's going to change the trajectory of our boys' lives. And so, um, I'll say this, and I think we can try to wrap it up here because I know the boys got jujitsu, and I'm going to try to hit the workshop today.
Right on.
You're doing good.
Thank you, brother.
And I mean that not just as in blowing smoke or affirming or confirming the things that we spoke about, but genuinely seeing you, seeing your life, seeing how you've carried yourself, seeing parts of your story and knowing parts of your story that have been shared offline. You're doing it, and you're doing well. You're raising good men. So for your advice that you gave, I'm going to give it back to you. Keep showing up. Keep doing it. Your boys see you. They love you, and they are proud of you because they know and have seen what you've done and what's been done to you. And you're setting an example that is honorable and good. So keep going, keep showing up, keep doing what you've been doing because you are building young men who are going to carry on a legacy that goes far beyond your last name. And so, I'll say it this way. May the advice that you gave be on our minds at all times. For me, for anyone listening, there's nothing wrong with us. We just got to keep showing up. We got to keep trying. And you're doing a good job, my man.
Thank you, brother. You got me in tears.
I love you, dude.
I love you too, brother.
Thanks for calling, man.
Thank you.